Is it really the chaotic wind hammer technique? Tang San's mind conjured up the image of his father's decadent figure. Could it be that his father was originally an outstanding blacksmith? San Shu, I don't know if this is the chaotic wind hammer technique, but this is what my father taught me. San breathed a sigh of relief, laughing heartily. It seems like I've picked a treasure. The previous employment conditions are null and void. For now, you'll earn the same as everyone else, 1 silver soul coin per month. If business goes well, we'll add a bonus. And so, Tang San officially became a member of San's blacksmith shop, beginning to live a fulfilling life. The courses in the academy were not particularly important to him. The teachings of the Grandmaster were much more useful than the basic theories taught by the academy teachers. He had carefully read the book given to him by the Grandmaster. As he had expected, the soul power cultivation method proposed by the Grandmaster was very similar to the internal energy cultivation route. Of course, this was only the Grandmaster's theoretical design, and there was still a considerable distance from the actual internal energy cultivation method, not to mention the Tangsek's mysterious heaven technique. Xiao Wu smoothly obtained the title of Soul Master. After becoming recognized as Sister Xiao Wu in the academy, the life of a part-time worker became easygoing. Every morning, Tang San would practice his purple demon eye as usual as the sun rose, attend classes in the morning, work in the blacksmith shop in the afternoon, and listen to the Grandmaster's teachings in the evening. At night, he would practice the mysterious heaven technique. It could be said that every day was absolutely fulfilling for him. In San's blacksmith shop, Tang San quickly gained everyone's recognition. San assigned him the task of refining metal. In his spare time, Tang San used some discarded materials to refine them on his own, beginning his enterprise of making hidden weapons. Of course, he only made some components in the blacksmith shop. The actual assembly would be done back at the academy. With her own formidable strength and the help of Xiao Qinyu, Xiao Wu soon became the acknowledged leader of all the students in the Novice Soul Master Academy. Her life was much more leisurely than Tang San's. Sometimes, she didn't even go to class. Tang San couldn't even see how she practiced. But Xiao Wu's strength continued to steadily improve. In the Novice Soul Master Academy, a semester was equivalent to a year's time, and students were not allowed to go home during the entire period, but family members could come to visit. Tang San had hoped for his father's arrival more than once, but he hadn't seen any sign of Tang Hao until the end of the semester. Fortunately, his life was fulfilling enough, and he didn't have much time to miss his father. As for the Martial Soul Hall, shortly after Tang San underwent the Soul Master evaluation, people from the Martial Soul Hall came to the Novice Academy to find the Grandmaster. The Grandmaster didn't tell Tang San what they discussed, and Tang San didn't ask. But judging from the extra smile on the Grandmaster's face, compared to usual, Tang San guessed that the relationship between the Martial Soul Hall and the Grandmaster had probably improved. Xiao Wu, tomorrow is the holiday. Are you going home? Tang San packed his belongings while speaking to Xiao Wu. A whole year had passed, and he could finally go home to see his father. He had already asked for leave from San at the blacksmith shop this afternoon. He even bought a brand new forging hammer to take back and give to his father. Since Tang San joined San's blacksmith shop, the quality of the weapons and equipment produced by the blacksmith shop had improved by a notch, and business had also improved. Now Tang San's salary had reached 5 silver soul coins per month, equivalent to half of the subsidy for soul masters. Xiao Wu leaned back on the bed, a hint of melancholy in her eyes. It was quite different from her usual lively and cheerful demeanor. I'm not going home. Maybe I'll just stay at the academy. Tang San was surprised for a moment. It's been a year. Aren't you going home to visit? Suddenly, Xiao Wu's eyes lit up. Xiao San, is your house near the academy? How about I go with you? Anyway, Wang Xiang and Xiao Qinyu have gone to take the exam for the Intermediate Soul Master Academy, and no one will accompany me. Tang San smiled. After a year of getting along, he knew Xiao Wu quite well. This little girl was lively and active, always acting like she was afraid of nothing. When she pretended to be gentle, she looked like a cute doll, but once she got angry, her title of Sister Xiao Wu in the Novice Academy was not in vain. In the entire academy, countless students had suffered because of her. My family is very poor. There's nothing good to entertain you with. Xiao Wu put her hands on her hips, her big eyes staring at Tang San. You save so much of your monthly allowance, unwilling to spend it, and still worried about entertaining me? Tang San smiled, extending his right hand. Speaking of allowances, I suddenly remembered that someone still owes me 6 silver coins. Xiao Wu was stunned for a moment, a hint of embarrassment appearing on her pink face. Although a silver coin per month was not considered small, she was indeed quite lavish with her money. Whenever she saw something good, she would buy it without considering whether it was useful. Now that she had her own bedding and no longer needed to share with Tang San, she had never managed her money. Once she ran out of money, she would borrow from Tang San, which had become a habit. It's just 6 silver coins, right? I'll pay you back when I get my allowance. You haven't said yet, do you really want me to go with you? Tang San smiled. If you want to go, then go. But my father has a bit of a temper. Xiao Wu didn't care at all. I'm so cute. Your father will definitely like me. As she spoke, she put on a gentle appearance and blinked at Tang San. Others might be deceived by her appearance, but Tang San had witnessed her volcanic eruptions too many times. He shook his head helplessly, not falling for her trick. Don't try to use your charms on me. Fortunately, you're only 7 years old now. If you were a little older, you might have some talent for seduction. What's a fox spirit? Xiao Wu asked curiously. It's a kind of soul beast that becomes sentient, specifically targeting men. Tang San chuckled. Xiao Wu was momentarily stunned, and her gaze at Tang San suddenly became somewhat strange. In an instant, her emotions became agitated. You're dead. How dare you call me a fox spirit? I challenge you to a duel. As she spoke, she leaped off her bed, baring her claws and teeth, pouncing towards Tang San. The other part-time workers were already used to this scene. The playfulness between Sister Xiao Wu and Tang San was nothing new to them. It had become routine. If they didn't see these two roughhousing a few times, they might actually feel uncomfortable. The next morning, as Tang San set out, he was accompanied by a lively little girl bouncing around. Wearing the uniform of the Novice Academy, they left Novice City and headed towards Xinghun Village. For Tang San, the past year had been extremely fulfilling and satisfying. Breaking through the bottleneck of the first level of the mysterious heaven technique under his diligent cultivation, the technique had made significant progress. According to his own calculations, he should have reached the upper mid-stage of the second level by now, corresponding to about level 16 or 17 in terms of soul power. In the academy, the only one who could compare with him in soul power was Xiao Wu. Although Tang San hadn't seen Xiao Wu practice much, their soul powers were always close when compared. Sometimes Tang San had a slight advantage, sometimes Xiao Wu would surpass him. Although they were both children, neither of them would yield to the other, so sparring was inevitable. At the beginning, senior students like Xiao Chenyu and Wang Sheng occasionally joined in, but as Tang San and Xiao Wu's soul powers rapidly increased, no one disturbed them anymore. After all, who would want to become a punching bag? So, although Xiao Wu was nominally the leader of all the students in Novice Academy, in reality, when Xiao Chenyu and the others called Tang San, they would also call him Brother San. In sparring with Xiao Wu, Tang San often ended up on the losing side. Xiao Wu's attacking techniques were endless, especially her soft techniques, giving people a feeling of being bound like rice cakes. Even if they both used soul rings, relying on the entanglement and paralysis effects of blue silver grass, Tang San could at most fight Xiao Wu to a draw. As for the hidden weapons Tang San secretly practiced, they were not used in sparring. One reason was that the lethality of hidden weapons was too great and too easy to harm people. The other reason was that he hoped to hone his close combat abilities through sparring with Xiao Wu. Perhaps because they were each other's training partners, they had a good effect on each other, progressing equally in battle. The academy teachers were too lazy to bother with them. In Novice Academy, although Tang San and Xiao Wu were only first-year students, they had already become famous geniuses. How much further is it? Xiao Wu looked around, asking casually. We're almost there. Do you see that mountain over there? Shenghan Village is at the foot of that mountain. Tang San's emotions couldn't help but rise as they approached home. If it weren't for the academy's rule that students had to return to the academy to live at night, with teachers checking rooms every day, Tang San might have already gone home to see his father. It had been a year. Dad, are you okay? Perhaps it was because of being an orphan in his previous life that Tang San cherished this family affection even more in this life. Touching the 24 moonlit bridges at his waist, where he had brought back the forging hammer for his father, new clothes, and even a few bottles of good wine, Tang San couldn't help but feel excited. Life in the small mountain village he had lived in for 6 years was already in sight. For some reason, Tang San's heart was filled with an inexplicable emotion that gradually surfaced. If he had to describe it in one sentence, he would say, "It feels good to have a home." Even if this home only had himself and his father. Soon, the two of them had entered Shenghan Village. Tang San's house was at the head of the village. Pointing to the dilapidated sign on the roof, Tang San smiled at Xiao Wu and said, "Look, that's my home." With home in sight, Tang San's emotions couldn't help but become excited. He quickened his pace, arriving at the doorstep in 3 steps. The gate was still open, just like when he left. This had always been Tang Hao's habit. After all, there was nothing worth stealing in his blacksmith shop. "Dad, I'm back," Tang San shouted excitedly. Xiao Wu had never seen Tang San in such an emotional state. Standing behind him, she looked at him with curiosity. In her impression, Tang San was a fairly gentle friend. He didn't talk much usually, but he always seemed busy, always having something to do. Only in their sparring sessions could she see his serious side. Even if he lost to her, she had never seen him angry or excited. As he called out, Tang San hurried inside. Everything seemed unchanged. The blacksmith shop was still as messy as before, even more so than when he left. Various things were strewn about haphazardly, giving it a shabby feeling, but it also brought him a sense of familiarity. "Oh, Xiao-san, you're back," a gentle voice sounded. A figure walked out from inside. Seeing him, Tang San couldn't help but be stunned. "Grandpa Jack, are you here too? Where's my dad?" The one who walked out from inside was none other than Elder Jack, the village chief of Shenghan Village. There was a hint of a bitter smile on his face as he handed a piece of paper to Tang San. "Take a look at this. It's what your dad left behind. I came to find him this morning, intending for him to come with me to pick you up, but I didn't expect you to have already returned." A hint of nervousness appeared in Tang San's heart as he quickly took the paper from Elder Jack and lowered his head to read it. There were only a few simple lines on the paper, with somewhat sloppy handwriting, but it couldn't hide the rough and bold atmosphere. "Xiao-san, when you read this letter, I'll be gone. Don't try to find me, you won't be able to. Though you're still young, you're capable of taking care of yourself. Eaglets can only soar higher if they spread their own wings earlier. Don't worry about me. You've inherited much of your mother's delicacy in your character. Your father is a useless man. As you grow up, I need to reclaim some things that rightfully belong to me. Someday, we father and son will meet again. I hope you become strong, but I also hope you don't become strong. Choose your own path. If one day you feel that being a soul master is not good, then return to Shenghan village, like me, and become a blacksmith. Don't miss me.
Tang Hao.
Looking at the paper in his hand, Tang San was completely stunned. His entire sense of joy had instantly turned into helpless loss. Dad left. Dad, why did you leave? Watching Tang San's absent-mindedness, Elder Jack sighed. Tang Hao left without any warning. Just the day before yesterday, I came to have him make some farming tools, and now we'll need to find another blacksmith. This guy, he's so irresponsible. Tang San slowly came back to his senses. Grandpa Jack, you mean Dad just left these past 2 days? Elder Jack nodded. It should be these past 2 days. Xiao San, don't be too sad. It's not worth it for such a father. Come with me to my place. Tang San shook his head silently, carefully folding the paper in his hand and putting it into his own chest. Thank you, Grandpa Jack, but my home is in such a mess. I won't ask you to stay. I need to tidy up. Elder Jack was taken aback for a moment. He didn't expect the young Tang San to issue an eviction order. With a sigh, he said, "All right, but if you need anything, just come find me." He shook his head helplessly, then turned and walked away. Elder Jack left, leaving only Tang San and Xiao Wu in the blacksmith shop. Tang San didn't speak, just started cleaning up the messy room, tidying up everything inside. Oddly, Xiao Wu, usually lively and active, remained silent at this moment. She walked to Tang San's side and quietly helped him put things away, scooped water from the outside water tank, and helped him wipe away the dust in the room. Novice Soul Master Academy. The Grandmaster was in his room, looking at a book. Tang San had gone home, leaving him feeling empty. After spending a year together, although he didn't say it, his feelings for this disciple were deepening. Until this morning when Tang San left, he hesitated whether to go to his home to see him. In the end, the Grandmaster dismissed his own idea. There were many reasons, and even he himself couldn't explain them clearly. Bang, bang, bang. At this moment, a knocking sound suddenly came. The Grandmaster frowned. Besides Tang San, no one would come to his room. "Please come in." The Grandmaster put down the book and said lightly. The door opened, and a tall figure walked in from outside. He was wearing a simple gray robe, with messy black hair scattered on his shoulders. The weathered face was filled with vicissitudes, and the hazy eyes seemed to have experienced the vicissitudes of life, which didn't match his appearance of being only around 50 years old. "Hello, Grandmaster." The man's voice was deep and somewhat hoarse. For some reason, when this person just entered the room, the Grandmaster subconsciously tensed up, and even his soul power spread throughout his body involuntarily. "You are." Standing up slowly, the Grandmaster's eyes showed some confusion. The man in gray said lightly, "It's been about 20 years since we last met. I look like this now, so it's no wonder you don't recognize me. My name is Tang Hao."
Tang Hao.
The Grandmaster's usually calm expression suddenly changed drastically. His eyes almost instantly focused, staring at the person in front of him, and his hands grabbed the table, his fingers turning pale. You're Hao." Tang Hao waved his hand to stop the Grandmaster from continuing, coldly saying, "There's no need to mention the past titles. Back then, we might have had some connection. Others might think you're just a lunatic, but I know you're a determined person." The Grandmaster's emotions gradually calmed down. His stiff face twitched slightly. "It seems I guessed right. You are indeed Xiaosan's father. He has returned home. Why are you here?" Tang Hao nodded slightly and said calmly, "It's because he's returned home that I'm here. I know you've taken him as your disciple. As a father, I should have come to see you long ago. I'm leaving, and the only concern I have is him. So, I entrust Xiaosan to you." "You're leaving? Where are you going?" "He's your son." The Grandmaster stared at Tang Hao firmly, his eyes somewhat fierce. Tang Hao remained cold. he's also your disciple. I must leave. There are many things I must do. It won't bring him happiness to follow me. I have no other requests. His life, let him choose for himself. It's been 10 years. I've been gone from this world for 10 years. Now that he's grown up, there are some things I must do. The Grandmaster took a deep breath. I don't know what happened to you, but I can tell that Xiaosan is very attached to you. Don't you think it's too cruel for him to leave like this? Tang Hao said indifferently, he has decided to take an extraordinary path. It's cruel to him to be with me. All right, I've said what I wanted to say. No matter when, remember, he's my son. After saying this, Tang Hao waved his hand, and a black token fell with a clatter on the table in front of the Grandmaster, exactly like the one the Grandmaster had shown when he entered the spirit-hunting forest with Tang San. However, the pattern on this token was a whole 6. Bang! The door closed, and Tang Hao's tall figure had disappeared. Looking at the door, the Grandmaster stood there for a long time without any movement. After a while, he slowly lowered his head, his gaze falling on the token. A bitter smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. I never expected that my idol would turn out like this. As the sun slanted, in front of the blacksmith shop, 2 petite figures sat side by side, wearing the same clothes, quietly sitting there. The setting sun's afterglow cast a faint red color on them, as if imprinting a circle of golden red on their bodies. The girl on the left turned her head to look at the boy, her hands propping up her chin, as if she wanted to say something, but ultimately she held back. It was the boy who spoke first, holding a brand new forging hammer in his hand. Xiao Wu, thank you. Thank me for what? Xiao Wu asked curiously. Thank you for always being with me. Tang San lowered his head, looking at the ground beneath his feet. His eyes were somewhat distant and hazy, but ultimately, no tears fell. Xiao Wu chuckled and pushed Tang San's shoulder. It was a forceful push, almost knocking Tang San over. Don't be depressed. Your dad just temporarily left. Someday, you will meet again. Perhaps his departure is just to make you grow better, to make you stronger. If you continue like this, won't you be letting down his efforts? A wry smile appeared on Tang San's face. Perhaps, but why doesn't he let me see him one more time? Xiao Wu, you know, Dad is my only relative. Without Dad, it's no longer a home. Xiao Wu shook her head, swinging her long scorpion braid in front of her. Without Dad, you still have me as a friend. If you insist on finding a relative, I don't mind being your sister. Come on, call me Sister Xiao Wu to hear. Everyone calls me that. You're the only exception. Watching Xiao Wu's charming appearance and her rosy cheeks illuminated by the sunset's glow, Tang San couldn't help but smile. Having someone by your side when you're at your most vulnerable is always a beautiful thing. If you're willing to be my sister, I won't object. If I remember correctly, although we're the same age, you seem to be a few months younger than me. I was born in January, but you're in August, right? Forget it. I'll only be a sister, not a younger sister. Xiao Wu raised her hand impatiently to hit Tang San on the head. Tang San dodged to the side, already leaping out, standing 3 meters away from Xiao Wu. Xiao Wu, come with me to the mountain. I'll show you something. Tang San's expression was serious, as if he had made some kind of decision. Xiao Wu didn't joke anymore, a bit of cleverness showing on her small face as she nodded to him. Tang San took the initiative to hold Xiao Wu's tender little hand and ran towards the mountain outside the village. The shadows of the two stretched longer on the ground under the sunset's glow. Tang San took Xiao Wu all the way to the mountaintop before stopping. Even with full force of the mysterious heaven skill, he couldn't help but breathe slightly. Standing on the mountaintop, facing the setting sun, Tang San's eyes were already filled with purple. Xiao Wu, this used to be where I practiced. I'm asking you a question very seriously, and I hope you'll answer me seriously. Xiao Wu pursed her lips. Do you know that you look a lot like those old men in the academy? Tang San slowly turned around, looking at Xiao Wu seriously. Would you like to be my sister? I really hope to have another relative. Xiao Wu was about to say something, but Tang San stopped her. Let me finish. I have nothing. You've seen the situation at my home. I'm just a poor commoner. I can't give you wealth or power. You also have a natural full spirit power, but you're different from me. I can tell that your background must have a story. But I've never asked because I'm afraid the gap between our backgrounds is too big, and we can't even be friends. But I really hope to have a sister like you. Although I can't give you what nobles have, I can give you my promise. I will always protect my sister and never let her get hurt. Seeing the tears shimmering in Tang San's eyes, Xiao Wu's eyes gradually turned red. What if one day, there are many people who want to kill me, and those people are too strong for you to beat? What will you do? A faint smile appeared on Tang San's face. Then please step over my corpse first. Xiao Wu fell silent, and Tang San didn't speak anymore. The red of the sunset gradually faded, and by now, the stars in the sky had quietly emerged. Brother. Xiao Wu broke the silence between them with a simple word. The tears that had been held back finally fell at this moment. Tang San trembled as he took Xiao Wu's hand. Thank you, sister. Father had left, but he had gained a sister. Tang San looked up at the sky, silently making a lifelong vow to the stars above. Night fell, and the two children sat on the mountaintop, feeling the gentle breeze of the mountain, looking at the stars and moon in the sky, bringing a peaceful atmosphere and fresh air, all of which brought a comfortable feeling. Can I not call you brother? Xiao Wu turned her head to look at Tang San beside her. Tang San was taken aback. Why? A blush appeared on Xiao Wu's face. Well, how should I say it? I'm also the eldest of all the students in Nuoding. Suddenly having so many brothers, how would they see me? Tang San laughed. Okay, you can still call me Little San. As long as I know in my heart that you're my sister, what does the title matter? As he spoke, Tang San raised his hand, pulled down his sleeve, and took off the sleeve arrow from his left wrist. We're sworn siblings, and I don't have anything valuable. Take this for self-defense. It's my first work. Xiao Wu looked curiously at the sleeve arrow Tang San handed over. What is this?